Humphrey Bogart and Errol Flynn were at the pinnacle of Hollywood stardom, but their paths to fame were as different as night and day. Bogart's rise was steady and hard-earned. He cut his teeth on tough roles, his gruff, no-nonsense attitude on and off the screen, making him a symbol of rugged masculinity. His films, Casablanca, The Big Sleep, The Maltese Falcon, cemented his place in history as the ultimate cynic with a heart of gold. Flynn, meanwhile, burst onto the scene like a firework. Known for his swashbuckling heroics, Flynn was charismatic, carefree, and handsome. His roles as a dashing adventurer were beloved by audiences, and his wild lifestyle only fueled his popularity. But while Flynn thrived in the spotlight, Bogart despised his carefree approach to Hollywood life. In the 1930s and 40s, Hollywood was a veritable pressure cooker for star rivalries. The studio system, which controlled every aspect of a star's career, often pitted actors against one another, not just for roles but for public adoration. Studios thrived on stoking competition among their talent to keep them in the spotlight, and media attention played a huge role in shaping the public's perception of these actors. Bogart and Flynn's clash wasn't an anomaly, but rather the result of a system that thrived on building stars up while quietly rooting for their downfall. The glamorous facade often hid deep insecurities and tensions, where fame and fortune were both coveted and precarious. In such an environment, where stars were constantly battling for the top, a rivalry between two of Hollywood's brightest leading men seemed inevitable. As both men rose to fame, it was only a matter of time before their differences brought them into direct conflict. Flynn's outrageous behavior and cavalier attitude toward his career were the antithesis of Bogart's professionalism. The tension simmered just beneath the surface as Hollywood insiders whispered about the growing animosity between them. Flynn was infamous for his outrageous behavior. He partied hard, womanized without shame, and treated Hollywood like his personal playground. His antics landed him in the gossip columns regularly, but Flynn reveled in the attention. Bogart, however, was not impressed. Flynn's womanizing especially disgusted Bogart, who valued loyalty and respect. Bogart's relationship with his wife, Lauren Bacall, was one of Hollywood's legendary love stories, and he fiercely protected her. The idea of Flynn making passes at women with reckless abandon rubbed Bogart the wrong way. The final straw came one fateful night at a swanky Hollywood party. Flynn, fueled by his usual mix of alcohol and swagger, made inappropriate comments about Bacall that quickly spread among the guests. He implied that he had attempted to make advances toward her, whether out of bravado or truth. It didn't matter. For Bogart, this was personal. Bacall, who had long learned how to navigate Hollywood's minefield of egos and advances, reportedly brushed off Flynn's comments with poise. But the moment she relayed them to Bogart, his anger was instantaneous. This wasn't just about Flynn crossing a line. This was about the sanctity of the one stable, honest relationship Bogart had amidst the chaotic Hollywood landscape. Word spread quickly among the partygoers that Bogart had pulled Flynn aside for a heated confrontation. Witnesses later claimed that the two nearly came to blows, their argument so intense that they had to be separated. Flynn, intoxicated and unbothered, tried to laugh off the incident, but to Bogart, this was no joke. His reputation as Hollywood's tough guy wasn't just an act, it was who he was. He viewed Flynn's behavior as not just an insult, but a direct challenge to his integrity and honor as a man. Though the night ended without physical violence, the tension was palpable. Hollywood elites buzzed with gossip, but somehow the story never hit the papers. The feud remained a whispered secret, known only to those in the inner circles of Hollywood's glittering elite. As the 1940s wore on, the rivalry between Bogart and Flynn only intensified. While Bogart's star continued to rise, Flynn's reputation was about to hit rock bottom. The carefree playboy found himself embroiled in one of Hollywood's most infamous scandals, his trial for statutory rape in 1943. Though he was acquitted, the trial left Flynn's public image in tatters. Behind closed doors, Bogart reportedly gloated over Flynn's fall from grace. To him, Flynn's trial was proof of what he had always believed. Flynn was all charm with no substance, a man who lived recklessly and paid the price. The once glamorous Flynn was now tainted, his name forever linked to scandal. Flynn's behavior, which had once seemed daring and exciting, now looked like recklessness spiraling out of control. His drinking worsened, and many in Hollywood who once clamored for his company began to distance themselves. Key figures, directors, producers, and even former friends spoke privately about how Flynn's antics had finally caught up with him. He had become a liability, a star whose brilliance was fading under the weight of scandal, addiction, and poor choices. Hollywood, always quick to find new faces, was already beginning to move on. He lived too fast, too hard, one insider was reported to have said, and now he's paying for it. While Flynn's career continued, it never fully recovered. His legal troubles, combined with his worsening alcoholism, meant that he would forever be remembered more for his scandals than his talent. Bogart, meanwhile, kept his distance, his reputation remaining unscathed as he climbed to new heights of respect and admiration. Though Bogart rarely commented directly on Flynn, he was known for taking subtle jabs at him during interviews, often couching his criticism in humor. He would question Flynn's commitment to the craft, implying that Flynn was more interested in his social life than in his work. "Some actors like to play heroes on and off the screen," Bogart quipped at a dinner party. "But the real tough guys know when to turn it off." Yet, in a twist of irony, Bogart himself struggled with personal demons. He was well known for his heavy drinking and bouts of temper. However, unlike Flynn, Bogart managed to keep his vices under control in the public eye. His love for Bacall and his dedication to his craft created a protective shield around his image, allowing him to navigate Hollywood's murky waters with his reputation intact. As the years passed, Bogart's legacy solidified. Even after his death in 1957, he remained one of Hollywood's most respected figures. His tough guy persona, both on and off the screen, cemented his place as a symbol of old-school masculinity. Critics reappraised his films posthumously, lauding his ability to portray complex characters who embodied both strength and vulnerability. He became a Hollywood icon, whose legacy only grew with time. Flynn, however, wasn't so lucky. Though he continued to act, his later years were marred by his scandals, leaving him remembered more for his off-screen exploits than his cinematic triumphs. Attempts to rehabilitate his image have been less successful, with many viewing him as the tragic cautionary tale of a man who flew too close to the sun. His once bright career was now overshadowed by the weight of his personal failings. In the end, Bogart's life represented Hollywood's ability to survive scandal with dignity, while Flynn's life symbolized its darker side, the toll of living too fast and too recklessly. Their feud, while never fully public, was one of the most intense rivalries of Hollywood's golden age, proving that behind the glamour and fame, even the brightest stars could harbor dark secrets.